rider in MotoGP history to overturn a points deficit coming in.
Takes his place on that back row of the grid. Jorge Lorenzo is already there in pole position. 30 laps, 4.00. Out on the track.
And it's a dream start by Jorge Lorenzo from pole position. Look at Valentino Rossi streaming up the inside down into the first. Rossi now the inside of Loris Baz at turn number 2. Lorenzo though leads the way. Rossi siding his way through the field.
Wow, it's coming through there like a knife through butter at the moment.
Next in line for Valentino Rossi is number 68, Yoni Hernandez on that Pramo Ducati. Marc Marquez now leading the charge on Lorenzo. Yandre.
Turn 12, 13 coming up. Lorenzo got the dream start after that fantastic qualifying lap. 99 leads the way. 99 leads the World Championship.
Line at the end of the first lap. Valentino Rossi then down in 15th place. He's about to move up the inside of Nicky Hayden to the Ducati. Rossi will finally make it stick up the inside of Hayden down into the Mick-Doohan corner. This is where the championship was decided between the two of those. Back in Johnny Hernandez, no way through there as they run down on the brakes. There is no Rossi, brilliantly late on the brakes. He's finally passed the South American, the crown place, and he's up the inside of Bautista as well. Super aggressive from Rossi. He's on the charge.
Rossi on the charge. Up the
place is only good enough for Valentino Rossi to win this World Championship. Lap 2 of 30 has been completed and Lorenzo set the fastest. The slipstream of Stefan Bram's Aprilia. Rossi picks up one more place down into the brakes at the first corner. Valentino Rossi
gonna be.
Can Lorenzo get away? That's got to be the big question in terms of the outcome of this World Championship, because Valentino, this is where he picked off Hernandez on the last lap. He's up the inside of another Ducati on this lap. He dispenses with Michele Pirro at turn number.
Andre Iannone has crashed out, and that means there's another place for Valentino Rossi. Iannone has crashed out of the
second clear now of Marc Marquez. Rossi then up to 9th place. His next in sights is Bradley Smith, but he's 1.3. Chasing down Smith for 8th place. The gap now under 0.8 of a second. Here is Lorenzo heading for the 2015 MotoGP and Bradley Smith. This is for the top 6.
This is where it would take Rossi.
Rossi started this lap 1.2 seconds behind Bradley Smith. He's smelling the exhaust pipes now. The gap now to the second slower than Jorge Lorenzo. Marc Marquez desperately trying to put the pressure on Lorenzo. He just set his own personal best lap. Danilo Petrucci down at turn number 4. Petrucci fights back at turn number 5. We're on board with Rossi.
Rossi and Petrucci, they will not be easy as they fight amongst themselves. 25 and a half laps ago, we ride with Bradley Smith.
11. Rossi had a look up the inside, thought about a look up the inside of Bradley Smith. Smith, though, sweeps it back to the apex. Smith has another look up the inside of Petrucci. Petrucci, what this is doing, it's giving Espargaro a bit of breathing space in 6th place.
What it's doing is also a bit of breathing space for
Brown at the end of this race. He knows that, but he's doing his utmost to put pressure on Jorge Lorenzo. Dani Pedrosa desperately clinging on in 3rd.
Smith, listen to the crowd. You know he has.
Yeah, Rossi's been brilliant on the brakes going down. Start overheating, we'll find out very, very shortly, because the gap between Lorenzo and Marquez, Lorenzo's eked it out.
Of course, finished second to Valentino Rossi in that rain-soaked British Grand Prix. And some people here in Valencia, listen to the crowd. Rossi through on Petrucci, who runs it wide. Smith goes
turn number 2. Bradley Smith was able to sweep through as well. Lorenzo was 0.2 of a second quicker on that lap number 6. The advantage
for Jorge Lorenzo in the World Championship. There is Rossi pulling away from Bradley Smith. Next on the shop, it's Espargaro. And then the fun and games will really start.
The first 3 sectors of this lap number 7, Valentino Rossi has already picked up 4, so marginally quicker again.
Rossi, there's still a long, long way to go. There's still 23 laps to go. We're not even anywhere near. There's the man in front of him. Next there, Pol Espargaro, number 46.
Well, Rossi's wide. Pol Espargaro, it's bunching up in that battle for 4th place between Dovizioso Smith. 0.6 of a second, the gap now.
22. The fight his way back as we stand at the moment. Jorge Lorenzo
over Marc Marquez, still just over 0.6 of a second. Dani Pedrosa making little improvement again. The gap's come down to 0.4 of a second. That's a fight for. Looks like even beyond the capabilities of the mercurial Italian
Front, can they haul back on Lorenzo? I think that is the absolute key. So I can't really see Rossi get
two. But this is a real heavy four-rider scrap now for fourth place. It's being headed by the factory Ducati of Andrea. Strong on the brakes down into turn number 8. He's not going to be close enough to strike on Paul Espargaro on this lap.
Hitting on Paul Espargaro all the time. Down through turn 11. Little short straight than that. Go. And Rossi closing on Paul Espargaro all the time. Now,
side of Paul Espargaro down into turn 1. Is he going to be close enough? No, he'll definitely try and get close enough to line up a move. The brakes, Rossi closes up.
We ride with Valentino Rossi. Lorenzo's advantage at the front, coming up to. Can he get up into 6? We ride with him. This is where he likes it. He's up the inside. Listen to the crowd. Valentino Rossi has passed. They
inside the top 6. Here we go. This is that move at turn number 6. Round Paul Espargaro a little bit wide. He's just got himself up into the point scoring places. 15 for Crutchlow. Lorenzo over the line. Marquez, that gap was stayed pretty much horsepower of the Yamaha down the start finish straight to close up on a late Espargaro on the Suzuki. This is the battle for 5th place and more.
Kill is Valentino Rossi.
You're not close enough at turn 6, but what he's going to do, he's going to get in the draft of Espargaro down. It's one of the sweetest handling motorcycles on the grid, and Rossi as yet has not been able to find a way through by on that GSX RI.
And he comes, Rossi so close to the Suzuki. Up to turn 12, here comes Rossi, right leg out to 40. Rossi surely will make his move as they come out of here and drag down towards turn 1.
Rossi's Yamaha. Here he comes out of the slipstream. Rossi's got the inside line. He'll make that move up the inside of Aleix Espargaro. He runs it a little bit.
Pop. Still 8 points between them when they cross the line. Aleix Espargaro and Valentino Rossi is through this time. And the crowd go wild, and this time he has made it.
Bit moved by Rossi on the brakes underneath the Suzuki of Aleix Espargaro at turn number 5. So Rossi then up inside that top on the last lap. Danny Pedrosa has upped his pace on the last lap actually. Pedrosa just set a personal best lap of the race. He was 4 to...
Rossi closing up on the Ducati of Andrea Dovizioso. What a battle. Not quite close enough. Get the drive out of here. Down the start and finish straight they come. That
MotoGP field. He's got the grunt of that Ducati coming out of turn 6 and turns them Andrea Dovizioso. Not late enough though to hold off Valentino Rossi. The crowd go absolutely great points. It's all about whether Marc Marquez or Danny Pedrosa can hunt down this man. Lorenzo at the front of the race.
This and the Yamaha of Jorge Lorenzo. 5 points between them. What a climax to the MotoGP season.
He's come from the back row of the grid up to 4th place Rossi. He's not going to finish on the post. Was 11.3 seconds behind Danny Pedrosa.
The only thing that can happen if Lorenzo finishes 2nd, he will be world champion.
Marc Marquez for some time. It's visibly closer.
I just want to get this right in my mind and to the viewer's mind. If Lorenzo finishes 2nd, correct, I want to make it absolutely doubly sure. Yeah, if Lorenzo, because it's a big ask now for Valentino Rossi to catch those people in front.
Yeah, that's what it'll mean.
And we're not half distance yet. Don't get carried away. Don't rule out Danny Pedrosa. Then it would be over to you, Mr. Honda.
On board still.
Take a big deep breath, everybody. When they cross the line this time,
his focus as Marc Marquez, we just saw Marquez sweep through the first corner away from that chasing pack. Rossi in 2 laps has taken 1.6 seconds out of Andrea Dovizioso. Here comes Mazda. Watch this start earlier on from Valentino Rossi from the back row of the grid. Lorenzo got the dream start from the front row. Rossi got a brilliant launch off the line. He was already picked up at least 6, 7, 8 places on that drag down to the first corner. And for the first time in this race, while we watch this start replay, the gap
enough. Marc Marquez passes Jorge Lorenzo. He still will be world champion.
Finish straight. We're on board with Marc Marquez down this long 2nd. If there's a man who can manage a race by looking at this pit board, it's Jorge to high 131s throughout this race. His best lap of 131 in the past. Marquez still hovering around about 0.3 of a second behind Jorge Lorenzo. Will Marc Marquez come through to take...
But one One thing just to mention, obviously, with Jorge Lorenzo's pit board, they're advising him where Rossi is very important, but also how far the gap is.
Yeah, they're not telling him where Marquez or Danny Pedrosa is, are they? What a shot to hope that the Hondas can catch the man. Honda Sparker on train of Vicioso.
Terms of the championship on this 18th lap of 30 here in Valencia. We're heading for a 12-point swing in Marc Marquez. Lorenzo over the line. The gap remains just over 0.3 of a second. Danny Pedrosa looks like he's going to find it incredibly difficult. It's going to take a massive capitulation from Lorenzo to give up.
Going to be crowned the 2015 MotoGP World Champion.
They know they have overheating issues and actually did his fastest lap of the race on the final lap. So, you know, Marquez, I certainly think, would have something in reserve.
It's a rather lonely ride now for Valentino Rossi. There's nothing more he can do. He's just got to hang in there.
Lorenzo stretched that advantage to just over 0.4 of a second again on the over the line in a very lonely third place. He's 15 seconds, almost 16 seconds behind Lorenzo in his personal best lap of the race, a 1:32.449. Cal Crutchlow will definitely feel that if he could have started from that 5th place,
world champion.
Interestingly, on his board, they're now also showing him Danny Pedrosa's position.
Telling him that without any shadow of a doubt. The 2nd place is good enough to be. We'll run these till next Thursday morning if he has to.
The best way to wrap up a world championship.
Equally on points at Silverstone. We ride with Marc Marquez. 9 laps to go.
Dropped into the 1:32s. It was a 1:32.035, leading the train behind.
Marquez is close now, Matt.
Yeah.
He is really, really close.
He was 2 tenths quicker.
Because he's won more Grand Prix.
Marc Marquez, he's got his own personal goal in this race, I'm sure.
8.5 laps to go. Tension at boiling point here in Valencia. Lorenzo's led the race from start to finish. The Hondas have had 2nd place is enough for him to take the World Championship. But he will ride this pace all
a 1/10 of a second. Nothing to give Marquez or Lorenzo any big headaches in these final 8 laps. The gap's still 2.5 seconds between Lorenzo. Now could be Marquez.
Oh, please, 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 please don't say that. 7 Ricardo Tormo circuit. Dylan, how is it in pit lane? It must be
quiet.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Into 14 they come. Marc Marquez's board tells him 2.1 seconds. Pedrosa's over the line. We still wait for Valentino Rossi to arrive. This is a lonely old sad ride at the moment after a
yet again was the quicker of the top 3. Now, what's Danny Pedrosa just swarms again all over the rear tyre of Jorge Lorenzo. It's Jorge Lorenzo himself. He's led this race right from the start, as maybe Lorenzo pushed it a little bit.
Can he close the gap? Just to remind you, if the 2 Hondas have finished in front of Lorenzo.
The charge, Danny Pedrosa through the 3rd split now. He's within 1.7 seconds of Jorge in this 2015 World Championship. Is it all about to unfold in front of our eyes? 6 laps to go.
So into turn 1. What about Danny Pedrosa?
Danny Pedrosa just did a 1:31.5, and Jorge Lorenzo is now within 1.6 seconds of Marc Marquez. From Marc Marquez and Danny Pedrosa, it is this man, Valentino Rossi, because if the 2 Hondas move by after those tyres through turn 7, through the King, now into turn 8.5 laps to go. Lorenzo still leads the way. This wouldn't be enough for him to be battle for the victory. Pedrosa just over 1.4 seconds back of Jorge Lorenzo and Marc. Again the quicker of the top 3.
Oh, we thought it
was as if Marquez passes Lorenzo, he'll have to engage with Marquez because Danny Pedrosa's right behind him.
1/2 laps to go. What an extraordinary end to this 2015 MotoGP World Championship. He bought them before he switched to Yamaha.
Through 13. Lap number 2, Lorenzo Marquez is under 3/10. The gap between Marquez and Pedrosa has come down yet again. One now that Danny Pedrosa has been faster on track than Lorenzo and Marquez. Has he got enough time to show? Because it's World Championship on the line for the Italian.
Bradley Smith moves up into 6th place in front of Andrea Dovizioso. He will still be world champion, but Pedrosa is the man with all the speed. 5 points Lorenzo leads the He wins the title from 4th place.
This is unbelievable tension. Lorenzo's getting the pit board. He knows now they're giving him a sign about Marquez and Pedrosa. Lorenzo in the destiny of this world champion. There we go. Marquez and Pedrosa, 1.3 seconds. The gap between Marquez and Pedrosa.
Lorenzo up at turn 2, the Mick Doohan corner. The 5 times world champion move. Is this the move he's gonna make? Right in his face, number 93. And Pedrosa, he's closing all.
How is your nerves? Jorge Lorenzo. Danny Pedrosa closes up through turn number 8. 3-way fight for the victory. What a second half to the race for Danny Pedrosa. You can hear a...
Cannot believe this battle. Here they come once again. 2 laps of the Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia.
Danny Pedrosa was 7-10. 5. Pedrosa now hugging the rear tyre of Marc Marquez. Is Pedrosa going to make a move at turn number 6? He's not quite close enough to Marc Marquez. Now Marc Marquez tries to fight back. Lorenzo out a little bit wide. Marquez back up the inside of Danny Pedrosa.
So, swapping paint, swapping positions. 1.5 laps to go. Lorenzo.
The biggest 2.5 miles of Jorge Lorenzo's career coming up. The final lap of an incredible 2015. Lorenzo under incredible pressure. He's held off those 2 Hondas so far. Through turn number 2 is Lorenzo with one hand on the trophy.
Through 5, up now towards turn 6. Marquez and Pedrosa at his heels all the time. Through the Angel in the end.
Marc Marquez, he's ridden a perfect final lap so far as the number 99 through this tight, twisty infield
to go. One hand on that World Championship trophy. Now he dips it into turn 12. 2 bends to go. 2015 MotoGP World Champion. 99 wins here in Valencia.
Jubilation on one side of the factory Yamaha garage. It'll be contrasting emotions on the side of number 4. But Rossi is not the world champion.
Rossi crosses the line. A most amazing race. He has ridden the race of a true applause to Valentino Rossi. He actually could have done no more than what he did.
And Marc Marquez had passed Jorge Lorenzo at the end of that race. And Lorenzo was seeing the World Championship slip through the season. And for the 5th time in his career, the 3rd time in MotoGP, Jorge Lorenzo.
We thought it might be a damp squib. Wow, what a race. The World Champion. Forget the shenanigans. He's won more Grand Prix than anybody else.
What's the difference at the end? Remarkable. No doubt about that. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's That's friends of his dressed up in all of the leathers. They put those leathers on the last minute because they didn't know he was going to win the World Championship right down to the last lap.
has come through.